What's up everyone, Tom from the Airsoft headquarters here, and welcome back to the channel. Today on our 5-minute fix series, we're going to be talking about how to remove and then reinstall some of the CO2 canisters in the Glock series of CO2 pistols. Now the pistols that I have currently are going to be the KWC and the VFC CO2 magazines. Both are going to utilize a little bit different of a CO2 reload system and are going to go to their respective pistols. Neither of these are compatible between individual or reversing those brands. So VFC has to stick with VFC and KWC needs to stick with KWC. I personally prefer the VFC, so I have a little bit more experience with this, and I have a very special hack with this magazine specifically. For the KWC one, these are going to be a little bit harder for Airsoft players, but I'm going to walk you through on how to make sure that you are installing and disassembling the CO2 or removing the CO2 from that magazine. So with the KWC Glock, you do need to remove that base plate first and foremost. That'll give you access to the screw cap that is on the very bottom of that magazine. The Allen screw that is provided in your box should be the correct size. If you did not get a Allen screw with your KWC CO2 magazine, if you are utilizing a US size Allen screw, there is a possibility that you could damage the walls of the screw cap. So make sure you're utilizing a metric size. You're going to just install, remove that screw cap, and that's the easiest part. With certain CO2 brands, there may be a possibility that that CO2 is stuck inside of there. If that does occur, you just find a hard surface such as a table and you just bang the bottom of the magazine against the hard surface of the table. Make sure not to utilize a granite countertop, otherwise you could chip away at that surface. So make sure you are okay with that. Now, once that CO2 is removed, take your CO2, reinstall it, and the hardest part is getting that cap inside of that magazine correctly and not cross-threading it. For this, I utilize the longer length of that Allen screw. Make sure you take your time, because if a screw cap or even worse, the magazine starts to cross thread, it becomes very difficult to try to reverse that. In a lot of cases, people have completely ruined their magazines by forcing that cap on there. So just like that, we have that cap on there, and then we can utilize the shorter length of the screw in order to go inside of there and tighten that cap against the base of the CO2 to puncture it and get that gas flowing. And to finalize, take your base plate and slide it back on if you want to. And that is pretty much it. Next, with the VFC, I have found that if you have still the correct size of Allen screw, you do not need to remove the base plate at all. What you can simply do, take the short end of your Allen screw, slide it into that cap. There's actually enough space between the screw cap and the bottom part, or really the space where the base plate begins. You can unscrew that cap to where it is still attached to the threads and is not going to come out of the body of the magazine, so long as you don't try to over tighten it. So now that you have that screw cap removed, you can hear that that CO2 is loose. So you can push upwards from the bottom so that the neck of the CO2 can be extracted outwards. Get your brand new CO2, put this end on the inside and put that neck downwards. So a simple reverse of operations. Make sure you have that neck in position with the puncture valve, and then with that Allen, you can begin to tighten that screw cap back into place, start the puncture, and then get gas flowing. It's really as simple as that, and then I even have a close-up for you guys right there. And that's all there is to it. If you guys have any further questions, put them down in the comments section below. I'll do my best to answer them, but we're all done here. So you guys take care, stay safe, stay positive, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.